Imagine a killer who doesn't hide. Instead, he writes to the police. He sends letters to newspapers. He even leaves behind coded messages, daring anyone to figure out who he is. And the scariest part? Some of these codes still aren't fully understood. This isn't just a movie. This actually happened. Hello, lovelies. How are we today? If you've been here before, welcome back. If you are new, welcome. I'm glad you stopped by. I like to talk about true crime here and a little bit of mystery. Sometimes a lot of it of mystery. Just depends on the day. So if you are interested, grab some coffee, grab some tea. Let's do this. All right. So this case is easily one of the most disturbing unsolved mysteries out there. I'm talking about the Zodiac Killer. The first confirmed victim were David Faraday, 17, and Betty Lou Jensen, 16. It was December 20th, 1968 on Lake Herman Road in Mageau, California. And if I say that wrong, I do apologize. I'm sorry. Words just don't always work with me. They were just parked in a quiet spot, probably on a date, when the killer appeared. David was shot once in the head, Betty 5 times. No warning, no motivation, no motive, just a young couple ending their night in tragedy. Next up was Mageau, 19, and Darlene Ferrin, 22. July 4th, 1969, in Blue Rock Springs Park, also in Mageau. Again, a couple in a car. Michael survived barely, but Darlene didn't. This attack was different. Michael could give the police a description. Then came the Lake Barista attack. Again, I'm sorry if I say that wrong. Please let me know how you say it if you do know. This was in September 27, 1969. This time, the Zodiac wore a hood, a costume, almost like he wanted to scare them as much as hurt them. The victims was Brian Hartnell, 20, and Cecilia Shepard, 22. He tied them up and stabbed them repeatedly. Cecilia died, Brian survived, and even left a message on the car door, signed with his symbol. It's one of the most disturbing attacks because it shows how much he enjoyed the theater of terror. And then there's Paul Stein, 29, a San Francisco taxi driver, October 11th, 1969. The Zodiac killed him inside his cab, shot him in the head, and took a piece of his shirt to mail to the newspapers. Can you imagine? You're just working and this happens? This is the only confirmed killing that wasn't a young couple. It showed Zodiac was expanding his territory and wasn't afraid of urban areas. But it doesn't stop there. Some people think Zodiac may have killed Sherry Jo Bates in 1966, years before his confirmed murders, or Kathleen Johns, who was abducted in 1970 but survived. Letters from Zodiac also confirmed more victims, numbers that don't match confirmed cases, suggesting he may have killed up to 37 people. At first, the attack seemed random. A couple sitting in a parked car shot, another couple attacked in the dark. No connection, no warning, just violence. And at the time, police didn't even realize these cases were linked. Then everything changed because the killer didn't just disappear. He started writing letters. He sent them to newspapers, taking credit for the murders. And in one of those letters, he gave himself a name, Zodiac. But these weren't normal letters. He included ciphers, coded messages, basically puzzles. And he said if people could solve them, they could find who he was. One of them actually got solved. And what it said was disturbing. He claimed he was collecting victims as slaves for the afterlife. And at that point, this wasn't just a killer. This was someone who wanted attention, someone who wanted control. In one letter, he described details that only the real killer would know, which meant this wasn't a joke. This was him. And then things got even stranger. A man claiming to be the Zodiac actually called in to a live TV show. Just think about that. A serial killer watching himself become famous in real time. Now, police did have suspects, though most well-known ones was Arthur Lee Allen. A lot of things pointed towards him, but nothing ever proved it. DNA didn't match, fingerprints didn't match. By all accounts, he was a seemingly normal guy. Worked as a teacher, had a family, but there were some strange things about him. The police first got suspicious after he was linked to Zodiac letters through handwritings and some personal connections. He was known to carry a knife, talk about killing, and even wear a Zodiac brand watch, which made people uneasy. I know it has to be this guy, right? Here's where it gets creepier. Allen owned a gun. He reportedly told people he wanted to kill people for fun. Imagine that. He even had a penchant for young boys, which added to the alarm. But the biggest connection came from eyewitnesses. Some survivors of Zodiac attacks described a man matching Allen's description. Then there were the letters. Allen had a fascination with ciphers and codes. He had the skill set to write the Zodiac ciphic messages. And yet, despite all this, there was no smoking gun. DNA from envelopes and stamps didn't match Allen. Fingerprints didn't match. Nothing tied him to any of these murders. Allen died in 1992 from a heart attack, never confessing. Since then, some experts believe he was the Zodiac, while others think he was just a weird guy who seemingly was suspicious. Next, we have Richard, and I'm not going to say his last name because I'm just going to butcher it, so I will just put it under me. But he was a journalist. He lived in the Bay Area, had access to typewriters, and was comfortable with codes. Some think he physically resembled the Zodiac sketches, but like Allen, there was no direct evidence connecting him to the murders. Then there was Lawrence Kane. He had a criminal record, and he lived near one of the Zodiac's attack sites. Eyewitnesses said he looked like these sketches, and he had a violent history. But again, no DNA, no fingerprints, nothing to point him to it. Kane was never officially tied to any of the crime. Recently, a new suspect made headlines. Gary Francis Post. Some independent investigators say facial comparisons match Zodiac sketches. His daughter reportedly recognized handwriting and letters, but just like the others, there's no official confirmation. And some true crime enthusiasts have even speculated about people like Ted, and I'm going to put his last name under here too, so you can see, the Unabomber, or Ross Sullivan, a man who worked near one victim. But these theories are much more fringe. Here's the pattern. All these suspects share some traits with Zodiac: looks, location, behavior, but no one has ever been proven to be the killer. It's all circumstantial evidence, theories, and speculation. Maybe he was Arthur Lee Allen. Maybe he was Gary Post. Or maybe someone else entirely. Someone who carefully blended in, disappeared without a trace, and left us with a mystery that still haunts California and the world. So officially, the case remains unsolved, and that's what makes this so unsettling. The Zodiac didn't get caught. He didn't confess. He just stopped. No one knows if he died or if he just went back to living a normal life. And honestly, that might be the scariest part, because it means he could have been anyone. If I had to pick someone based on the evidence, Arthur Lee Allen seemed the most likely suspect. He fits the location, timing, and some behavioral patterns. The DNA and fingerprints don't match, but what if he had help? So, what do you think? Was it one of the suspects or someone completely unknown? Let me know in the comments, because this case, it still has no answers. Tell me what you guys think. Do you think it was one of the suspects? I mean, usually if it looks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it's usually a duck. So, what if they just all did it? Like they all went in on it. Let me know what you think. If you're still here, thank you for sticking around. I appreciate it. Give me a like, give me a comment, maybe subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you. And as always, watch your back and don't talk to strangers.